Welcome to Igbo History TV. Please kindly subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed. Turn on the notification icon for more updates. Meet Emmanuel Nwude, the Nigerian man that sold an airport that doesn't exist for $242 million. Emmanuel Nwude Odinigwe, popularly known as Owele of Abagana, is a Nigerian advanced fee fraud artist and former director of Union Bank of Nigeria. He is known for defrauding Nelson Sakaguchi, a director at Brazil's Banco Nuerest based in Sao Paulo, of $242 million, $191 million in cash, and the remainder in the form of outstanding interest between 1995 and 1998. His accomplices were Emmanuel Nwude, Zeribo Okoli, and Obumosakwe, along with the husband and wife duo Chris and Ikechukwu Anejemba and Amaka Anejemba, with Chris later being assassinated. Born Emmanuel Odinigwe, former director of the Union Bank of Nigeria, known for defrauding $242 million out of Banco Nuerest and alleged attack on the Nigerian town of Ukpo, Anambra State. Currently in custody on murder charges, after neglecting trading losses at Barings Bank and the lootings of the Iraqi Central Bank by Qusay Hussein. The crime was the third largest in banking history after a large-scale attack on a town in Nigeria in August 2016. Nwude was alleged to be a ring leader and was arrested on murder charges. He was later released. Emmanuel Nwude pulled off one of the largest banking frauds, and what shocked the world was that he did this before the current internet banking system. This is what happened. In the year 1995, Nwude, who was the former director in one of Nigeria's largest banks, along with some other people, exploited the knowledge of their local and international banking operations to pull off a big scam. Of course, they had someone on the inside that helped them to achieve their plan. Nelson Sakaguchi, who was the director of a Brazilian bank known as Banco Nuerest, was also used as a pawn to achieve their plan. Based on the fact that he has been a bank director and was regularly interacting with the central bank governor, Nwude contacted Mr. Sakaguchi about a new airport that Nigeria intended to build in its capital, Abuja. Mr. Sakaguchi was supposed to get $10 million as his commission if the deal pulls through. So Mr. Sakaguchi quickly released a total of $191 million in cash, and there was also an outstanding payment to be made for the financing of the proposed airport project of an airport that doesn't exist. It will shock you to know that nobody discovered Nwude's scam until the year 1997. When Spanish Banco Santander were conducting investigations because they wanted to take over Banco Nuerest. They held a joint board meeting and the representatives of the Spanish bank were wondering what half of the Brazilian bank's capital was doing in an unmonitored account in Cayman Island. Their investigation started from Brazil to the UK before it finally led them to Nigeria and then to Switzerland and the United States. They finally uncovered the fraud. The military government in Nigeria at that time didn't pay much attention to fraud cases, but the return of the democratic rule brought up the case again as the country was trying to restore its poor image in the international community. The government set up the EFCC in the year 2002 to specifically tackle this case and other financial crimes. By 2004, the no-nonsense head of the EFCC finally succeeded to arrest all members of the crime, and by 2005, after the confession of one of the arrested fraudsters to get lighter sentence, he was given a 2.5-year sentence and an order to pay $25.5 million. In the course of the trial, various attempts to disrupt the proceedings with a bomb scare and attempt to kidnap people was made. The EFCC chairman at that time, Malam Nuhu Ribadu, even showed the $75,000 that was offered to him as bribe, which he did not accept. They added the charges of bribery and kidnap to the already existing charges of Mr. Nwude. After Nwude realized that his game was over, he pleaded guilty in return for a lighter sentence. They sentenced him to 5 years in jail and seized all his assets. The Nigerian government also paid a fine of $10 million to the people that he scammed. He regained his freedom in the year 2006, and he immediately filed a case to reclaim his assets, claiming that he acquired some of them before his criminal act. He successfully reclaimed at least assets worth $52 million. Mr. Nwude didn't enjoy his freedom for long. He was involved in another murder or attempted murder case in an issue that he had with someone in his community. Nelson Sakaguchi, who was the director of a Brazilian bank known as Banco Nuerest, was also used as a pawn to achieve their plan. Based on the fact that he has been a bank director and was regularly interacting with the central bank governor, Nwude contacted Mr. Sakaguchi about a new airport that Nigeria intended to build in its capital, Abuja. Mr. Sakaguchi was supposed to get $10 million as his commission if the deal pulls through. So Mr. Sakaguchi quickly released a total of $191 million in cash and there was also an outstanding payment to be made for the financing of the proposed airport project of an airport that doesn't exist. It will shock you to know that nobody discovered Nwude's camp until the year 1997, when Spanish Banco Santander were conducting investigations because they wanted to take over Banco Nwude. They held a joint board meeting